Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Radiance Central, and I'm your host, Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So it's the beginning of May, it's the 1st of May, and every month, at the beginning of the month, we launch a new Healthy Habits Challenge for the entire month. And last month, we started the series with focusing on drinking water. So for the entire month of April last month, we all were drinking, I'd say 6 to 8 cups at least of water every single day. And that was the challenge for April, and this month our challenge is to drink 1 green juice at least a day for the entire month of May. And so for those that don't have a juicer, today I'm going to show you how to make green juice using a blender and to strain it afterwards. It's very, very simple. So you don't necessarily need a juicer to make a beautiful green juice. You just need a blender, and any blender. You don't necessarily need a super expensive one or like a turbo, like supercharged high horsepower blender. You can use a regular kitchen blender. As you guys know, I have a regular kitchen blender, not the best at all. And I'm able to make a perfectly nice green juice with it, okay? And all you pretty much need is a blender, and you need a strainer. You either need a fine mesh strainer or you need a nylon strainer. And I'm gonna show you the options and what you can choose from and where you can get it. And yeah, so we're gonna go through that demo, and then at the end of the video, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about our challenge for this month, because it's the beginning of the month, and let's do it. Let's try and have green juice every single day this month. All right, so let's get started with the demo. So we're gonna start off with the tools we're gonna need, and also the ingredients that I'm using for this particular juice and this demo. So what you're gonna need is obviously a blender. Now, the blender I have is not like a high-speed blender. It's not like a high-quality blender, nothing. It's just a regular kitchen blender. So you don't necessarily need to be purchasing a very expensive blender to be making the juices, nothing. Whatever you have that will blend things up, you can use it. You might need more water than, let's say, a high-powered blender or high-speed blender, but you can still make juices using a regular blender, okay? Just so everyone knows that. Now, the next thing you're gonna need is you have 2 choices. Pretty much what we're doing is we're gonna blend up the juice, and then we need to strain it. And you're gonna either strain it with a nylon nut milk bag, which is a very, very fine mesh bag. Now, as you can see, this bag is totally stained because I'm always using this for my green juices. I actually like to strain my juices even when I'm using a juicer. So you can either use this nylon bag, which you can buy a nylon nut milk bag like this at any health food store, and you can also buy it online. But you can also actually go to a hardware store and buy a paint straining bag. All you have to do is tell the people at the hardware store you're looking for a nylon bag to strain paint, and they will actually offer you a much cheaper version of the same thing. It's pretty much very, very finely woven nylon that you're straining your juices through. And so it'd be a similar bag to this, but it'd be sold at a hardware store or a paint shop, okay? So you're looking for pretty much a paint strainer or a nut milk bag from a health food store, okay? So you can use this, or you can actually use a metal fine mesh strainer. I'm just gonna bring this up really close so you can see just how fine it is. It's very, very fine. It's not just a regular strainer, okay? And one thing people ask me a lot is if they can use cheesecloth. Cheesecloth, it's not fine enough to strain it. Yes, you can fold it up into many layers and then strain the juice through it, but I find it just to be a mess and quite difficult. That I find these are the 2 easiest options, and I would say the less messy option is with this. And I love using the fine mesh strainer, and you can buy one of these like at a dollar store, at like any kitchenware store, anywhere. So it's just as long as it's quite fine, the mesh, okay? And you'll need a spoon if you're gonna use the fine mesh strainer. I'll show you how to actually do both methods of straining your juice after you make it with the blender, okay? And then over here we have our ingredients. And pretty much for this juice, we're making sort of like a tropical vitamin C green juice. And so I'm using papaya, I'd say about half a cup of papaya. We're using half a large cucumber, 2 tangerines, which I would say is about the equivalent to 1 or 2 navel oranges, depending how big they are, and half a lime. And I've removed, on all of these, I've removed the skin, so you're always removing the skin except for the cucumbers. And then I've got 1 celery, and I would say about 1 cup of greens. These greens are, it's a local green, it's in the family of the spinach, so you can use spinach. 1 packed cup of spinach is good. And we're gonna need water. Now, I'm gonna show you when I'm doing the demo that with the water, it really depends on your blender. Some blenders can use very little water and blend everything up really, really well. Others need more water. So you have to get to know your blender to see how much you really need for your juice. The less water in there, the better, because the less diluted the juice will be. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna get started on making the juice. Okay, so we got our blender here, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put all these ingredients in. I just wanna mention that with the orange and also with the lime, is not only did I remove the skins, but I also removed all the seeds. I find when you're making juice with any kind of citrus, if the seeds are in there, even if like 1 or 2 seeds, it can really make the juice really bitter. So it's always best to remove all seeds before you make a juice, either with a blender or with a juicer. And so pretty much we're just gonna put all these ingredients in. And how I like to do it, especially with sort of a lesser strong blender, I like to start with a small amount of water and then work my way up, okay, so that I can see if I can get away with less water. I don't like to put too much water in at once, because the less water in these juices, the better. So right here, I put about 1/2 cup of water, and that's what I'm going to start with. And if I need more, I'll just add in more, and we'll get started. And here you go. So 1/2 cup worked fine, and everything is fully pulverized. So you want to just make sure it's thoroughly blended down. It's pureed to the thinnest, most broken down liquid you can get. Okay, and now we're going to strain it. Very easy. Okay, so I'm going to show you 2 ways of straining it, and we're going to start with using the nut milk bag. So what I do is I take a large mixing cup, or just anything that has sort of a wide rim. You can even use a bowl, but I like to just put the nut milk bag, the nylon strainer bag, into the bowl or the cup, the measuring cup, and I line it, okay, so it's easier. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour my liquid in. Okay, and I'm getting a fair amount in there. I would say almost to the top, not totally to the top, because you need to leave enough room that, you know, you don't want it pouring all over the place. And then, as you can see, I'm just straining it through. As you can see, I'm squeezing the bag, and I'm straining, or I'm squeezing out all the liquids. Okay, so you want to really, once you get towards the end of it, you really want to squeeze it well to get every little drop of liquid out. And then what would remain inside the bag is the fiber. Okay, and we would discard the fiber. We don't need the fiber. We're taking all the nutrients and all the goodness out, and we're discarding the fiber. And what you can do is, to sort of make it a clean operation, you would just empty out the fiber here. You would turn the nut milk bag sort of like inside out, get rid of the excess fiber, turn it back in, and then repeat until all the liquid is done. So this is how you would do it with a nut milk bag. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to strain the remainder of the juice using a fine mesh strainer instead of the nylon, so you can see the difference and then choose what you'd like to do. Okay, so you would throw this out and you would drink this. Now we're gonna strain the juice using a fine mesh strainer. So you're gonna need a fine mesh strainer, and you're gonna need a spoon, and you're gonna need either, I like to use my measuring cup, but you can use a bowl, whatever you have that again has a wide rim. Okay, so all you're gonna do, I like to do, is just place my strainer over my measuring cup, and then I'm gonna pour some of that juice in, fill it up, and then I'm going to take my spoon and I'm just going to stir. I always find this to be a much cleaner, easier option than using the nut milk bag. Personally, even when I'm making my juices in the juicer, I always strain them because I just like the taste better. I don't like any little bit of fiber in there. I find it kind of ruins the taste. The taste is more silky when a juice is strained. So either way, I find this to be, it's a little bit slower, a little bit longer, but it's kind of easier, it's less messy, you're not touching anything. And yeah, so all you do is you just keep stirring. And as you're stirring, pretty much the juice is being strained through. And you're getting the same fine juice you would either using a nut milk bag or using a fine mist strainer. There's no difference as to how much fiber is being removed. It's the same. And then you just keep stirring until it's done. So here's our green juice. This made about 2 cups of green juice, by the way. And it's delicious. This is packed, by the way, with vitamin C, a ton of vitamin C. So I just want to mention too, with making juice with a blender, is that the more water you're going to put in it, the more diluted it's going to be, so less strong of a taste. So I really do recommend using the least amount of water you can. I'd always start with any green juice to start with about 1/4 of a cup. And then if you need to add more to get things moving, then add more. But don't ever go, I would say, more than like 1/2 cup of water, because the more water in it, then it just starts tasting like waters and vegetables, kind of. It's just not good. So that's one thing to always keep into consideration, is that you don't want to dilute the juice too much. Just to end off, because it's starting to rain here, I want to mention though, with the Healthy Habits Challenge, just to explain it a little bit. So the goal for the entire month of May is to be drinking at least 1 green juice or 1 vegetable juice every single day for the entire month. I try and aim for green juice just so that you can get those greens in, because the greens are full of minerals, full of vitamins and amino acids and just wonderful stuff, antioxidants, everything. So try and get greens into all your juices every day. So the goal is to have at least 1 cup every single day for the entire month. Let's check in with each other over at Facebook, the Radiance Central Facebook page, or on YouTube under this video. You can leave a comment, or on my blog as well. You can always leave comments there. Let me know how you're doing. I'm going to let you guys know every week how I'm doing, and I'll give you guys recipes, and we'll talk about the juices throughout the month to keep you motivated. And I just want to end off too, just mentioning that the next 10-day juice fasting program, this is the last time I'm hosting a 10-day juice fast. So the next juice fasting program, and this is the last one, is starting next week, next Tuesday, May 5th. And it's a 10-day juice fasting program. After that, I'm no longer hosting 10-day juice fasts. I'm actually making a new program, brand new program. It's much shorter, but it's the same type of thing. It's going to be an online program, and we do it together, and I support a group doing it every month, but a little bit of changes. As everyone knows, I've actually been hosting 10-day juice fasts for about 5 or 6 years now, monthly, every single month. I've supported, I would say, about 2,000 people doing juice fasts over the years. I've seen many people go through the juice fast, and I've learned a lot, that it's now time for me to revise my program and update it and make new videos for it and everything, and also just make the changes so that things remain current and that people can really have a good juice fast, because I've seen 2,000 people go through juice fast over the past few years, and I know what works and I know what doesn't. So I'm excited about getting this new program out and together. Hopefully, I'm hoping maybe to launch it in June, if not July. But for the time being, if you want to do a 10-day juice fast, do 10 days on juice, join us. We're starting next Tuesday, May 5th. And you can get more information on the juice fasting program at my website at radiancecentral.com. Click on products and you'll find it there. I'm wishing everyone a super fabulous day. Drink your green juices, and I'll see you soon. Bye.